If I had to describe GCF in one word, it would be caring.
Authentic.
Family. Community.
GCF in one word, family.
Fun.
Belonging.
Community.
Gracious.
Resurrection.
Family.
GCF is the best family. GCF to me is home.
Good morning, you guys. I'm so excited to be able to share Dr. Arnati Jabasingh with you all today. About 30 years ago, she was working on her PhD in linguistics and teaching at a college in New Delhi when a little boy knocked on her door begging for food. She started feeding him and slowly started a relationship with him, and then she's going to come up and tell you in a little bit what happened from there. So much of her story is obedience. She takes one step and then waits for God to give her the green light. And once she gets the green light, nothing holds her back. She's one of the most fearless women I've ever met. She moves forward even when it doesn't make sense, but the Lord told her to move forward. She has a heart for the children living in extreme poverty in India and has loved them for 30 years. She's raised 3 children, but also thousands of children through the schools that she started. All the students call her Mummy Ji, which means honored mother, and they all see her as a mother figure in their homes and in their lives. When they graduate and get jobs, she's the one that they come back to and tell. She loves so intentionally and with the pure love of Christ. And I know that as she speaks to you all today, that's what's going to move forward. And I pray that through her story, the Lord speaks to each and every one of you. Would you welcome Dr. Arnati Jabasingh?
I'm so happy to be standing before you. And I thank the pastor, pastor's wife, and all of you. This is my second visit to your church. And whenever I think of your church, my heart warms up. Yes, it's real church. It's Great Commission Fellowship. Yes, the Great Commission you are doing and you strive to do, that attracts me so much. So here I am. I want to tell you how God called me, how God puts us into His work. And before going into that, I will read one verse from Isaiah chapter 2, verses 1 to 3. This is what Isaiah, son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established as the highest of the mountains. It will be exalted above the hills, and all nations will stream to it. Many peoples will come and say, "Come, let's go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob. He will teach us His ways, so that we may walk in His paths. The law will go out from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." So we are all running towards, I believe that this is a prediction of what is going to come, not yet come. That's what I was believing when I read this. Yes, God has to teach us His ways and the paths that we have to take. And that is going to take us to Him. And as we go, the Great Commission is there. And faith has to result in action. And God has a way of putting our faith into action, nudging us towards doing something. So that's what He did in my life. We see children on the streets. Now when I was talking to the children, they could not imagine that the parents can send the children out of their homes. And the children can stand on the road. The children can ask for food from others. They can't imagine. It's totally different. A different world. Not the highest of the community, but the lowest, the neglected, the downtrodden. They are pushed into a pit as Joseph's brothers pushed him into a pit. The poverty, the sickness, the carelessness, the riches, the pride, the self. I want this, not knowing what we will do with all those things when we go out of this world. But all these things have put the children into the pit. And God nudges us to rescue these children one by one, out of the pit. And when we do our part, when we rescue what Judah did, he wanted to save Joseph. And when we do our part to rescue these children, and Joseph became the feeder of the whole world, and his own family, his parents. That's what each child who is there in the pit without any help will become when we extend a helping hand. I was not aware of that. I was just doing my research and learning and all those things, teaching in a college. And it was enough for me to do all those things. But one particular day I thought, no, I should be serving the Lord. I can't go back and teach. I should be serving the Lord. And I was praying, Lord, you take me into your service. Lord, you take me into your service. And it looked that he is not listening to me. And he is rejecting me. And I was crying all the more, fasting and praying, why you are rejecting me. I'm not worthy to serve you, but I don't want you to reject me. Then the little boy was sent to me. I heard his knock. And I was kind to him. But when he brought many children, I got angry, which I should not have done. I sent them out. Because I thought I was making all of them beggars, not really realizing their predicament, not realizing that it is the community that has pushed them into this. They are innocent, not realizing the circumstances have pushed them into it. I sent them out. But then God was speaking to me. They are hungry. Their words, we are hungry, that was repeating in my mind. And I was shaking and shivering and fell at his feet. Lord, what do you want me to do? And his answer was, you feed them. He was nudging me into action. My faith was there. I believed in the Lord. But he wanted me to put my faith into action. And he told me, when you bring these children out, you will not be doing it alone. I will be with you. You have the feeling of the great Lord standing with you when you pull the children out, providing for you, comforting you, doing miracles in your life. And there, faith put into action. He doesn't push us into a big thing all on a sudden. He trains us, teaches us, his paths, his ways, how we can do that. And when I accepted, yes, Lord, I'll do what you want me to do. He said, you feed them. I couldn't understand how I could feed that many children. I could give something, but not everything. But then the Lord made me understand. You teach them to fish instead of giving them fish. Yes, I'm in the field of education. I can teach them. So one boy I took. I made an agreement with him. If you sit and learn from me, then I will give you breakfast. He agreed. He was so happy. And we started learning. I started teaching him the alphabet. The day he learned to write, it was a joy for him. The day he learned to pray, It was a joy for him. Yes, there is someone who will take care of me. That's what I didn't introduce only education. I introduced the Lord, because education without the Lord is nothing. And if you don't give it the Lord, what is the fun in giving them education? So that is it. You have to put them on to the Lord. The very first day, I did not know their language so well, so sometimes they burst into laughter when I was praying in their language, Hindi. But then they prayed. They took it over and they prayed. And we were walking in our garage. Many women came to me with their children. There is no place for our children to go. You can't imagine that situation here in this country. There is no place. No one will accept our children. They will send them away. You are kind to them. Please keep them at least for half an hour and then send them out. Yes, I agreed. I kept them in our garage. For my children, I had little rabbits and little pets. And with all of them, these children sat. And with a plastic blackboard, I started teaching them. Every mark they made on the paper made them rejoice. They looked at me with joy in their eyes. The moment they came into my room, that garage room, it was not very neat and tidy. But the moment they came into the room and they started to pray and read, stars came in their eyes. I used to give them a small cup of milk every day because I realized they are highly malnourished. So something I should give. And that brought so much joy. Always laughter and singing and praising God and learning. It was a very joyous atmosphere. And many children came into my garage. I put them onto veranda. I put them onto the road. The road was right beside my door. I was living in an apartment. And I put them all there. And then I put them on the road also, hanging a board on the wall so that they will learn. I didn't know how to accommodate all the children, and I didn't have a heart to send them away, because already I had sent them away once, and the Lord told me no. And He said, you have to do. And I was doing. And one day, one little boy didn't come to the school. Second day, he didn't come. Third day, when he came, he lost track of all the marks I had taught him to make on the paper. He was baffled. He couldn't know anything. Then I asked him to stay back with his sister. Then I asked the sister, what happened? How come? He was very intelligent. Now how come he can't understand anything? Then she lifted up his pant, and there were red marks around his legs. The father thought that he had stolen some money, and he tied him both legs together and hung him in the hut upside down for the whole day. I couldn't bear that. I was crying, and I told the Lord, now I understand, Lord, their plight, their predicament, and how you want your people to bring them out, to lift them up from the pit they are in, and how you have to. I understand, Lord. I was determined from then on. I depended for all help on the Lord to encourage me, to support me, to feed the children. For everything I depended on Him. Completely determined that I cannot leave even one single child. Yeah, we didn't have place, too many children, and apartment complex. So then I learned about the slum commissioner. I went to the slum commissioner and asked him, see, I am willing to teach these children, but there is no place for me. Can you give me a small piece of land in the slum? There is an open space. Can you give that to me? I will put tents. I will do everything. And then I will teach the children. He said, no, madam. I'm so happy that you are coming up to teach them, but I don't have the right to allot any land for you. But I have a room. We built the room. So I have the right to give you the room. It is in the public toilet complex. Maybe 25,000 families were living in that small, maybe 4-acre land. They were living there in very small houses. They had no place for defecation, having a shower, nothing. So they will go into this toilet. There they will do everything. Stench was there. I couldn't believe myself. Unbelieving, I was looking at his face. How can a man ask this question to a decent woman to go into the toilet complex? The wrong things may also happen. Bad stench is there. How can he ask me to go into that place? I was baffled and looking at him, and his face and his table, everything vanished. And I saw the manger scene slowly coming in. And the Lord telling me, to save you, I came into this dirty place. To save these children, can't you go into this dirty place? I shook my head and then I said, yes, Lord, I'll go. It was difficult. We divided the room, 2 rooms, into many rooms, and then we taught the children. They were so happy. They were so happy. Sometimes madmen walked in because it was open to the community. No gate was there. We could not close it. So madmen walked in. Sometimes cows walked in to the classroom. They will come. Young girls were my teachers, volunteer teachers. And they were not Christians. But they agreed to come with me. And they trusted the God whom the madam trusted. Because I taught them about Jesus every day. Explained to them the Psalms. I was not that much courageous to introduce John's Gospel immediately, but I explained the Psalms to them. And after a few days, I started with John's Gospel when they accepted Jesus. So they came with me, and they were there. And in spite of all these difficulties, we were going on and on. One day the slum commissioner said, we are going to demolish the slum. And there was so much unrest in the slum. So much unrest. One man came into the toilet complex and with a knife in his hand, very angry. And I was not there, I was standing on the side. And he went directly into that. And I just bowed my head and prayed. I don't know what will happen, Lord. He's going angrily there. And he was shouting, where will our children go now? Where will our children? They are in school. Where will our children go? And I prayed and looked up. He had his knife like this and he was walking out. And the man said, we will file a complaint, madam. You don't do anything. I just write everything. I will write the first information report and you just sign it. He was begging me, ma'am, we can't allow such people to come against you. Just sign it, ma'am. I will take care of everything. I looked at the paper. So much was written on the paper. I looked at it, and then I burst into tears. I'm not here to take them to the police. I'm here to help them in the name of Jesus. He won't take them to the police. I can't do that, I said. And I went to my friend. Her husband was the minister for all of India for urban development. I told him, this is the case. And he stopped it that day. But anyway, later it was demolished. At that time they allotted small rooms, small spaces for them where they could make a house. We helped many of them to make a small house for themselves. And the children were thrown out when the slum bathroom complex was demolished. They were crying again. I went into that place which was allotted wet land, cold season, and they called all of them. The imams came, the pujaris came, and there were no Christian priests. There was nothing of Christianity except what we told them. All of them came together. I said, there is a living God. Let us close our eyes and pray to Him. He will help you. He's the one to help you. So they all closed their eyes and prayed. And we wanted a school. I realized these children want a school. And the commissioner told me, you have to go to the education department. And we went to the education department and they wanted money immediately in the bank. And I used to go every day, 6 o'clock I'll start from my home. And when I come back, it will be 6 or 7 in the evening. I had to stand before the watchman, asking him to go and pass on, guide me where to go. And I used to stand before the commissioners. And I went even to the Prime Minister's office. It was a Hindu government at that time. But his assistant told me he will help. And all help was brought to me by the Lord. All help. He shook the heavens. That's what I will say. When we were waiting for recognition, no one would approve of our structural stability of the school because they hadn't seen the school. God brought them to me. I was talking on phone to the Minister of Education, to the Director of Education. They wanted the school for a week. And we agreed, and they helped. They called me and gave all the permissions. So God was going in front of me. I could feel the Lord standing with me. When I asked one man here, I was showing a very homemade video. We want money to build the school. And I showed him, and he said, what is your budget now? I said, 5,000 rupees. Maybe it is equivalent to how many dollars? Maybe you divide it by 70. Maybe $70. That's it. That was my budget. And now what you are thinking of? I was thinking of a $1 million budget. He said, can it be a reality? If you are having a $70 budget, you go to $140 budget, and like that you have to go. Not like this. From $70 budget, how can you do that? He was asking. Then I forcefully, in the same force, I said, no, I'm not going to do it. You know, I'm not going to do it. It's the Lord who is going to do it. It's the Lord. Whenever they said, what will this puny little woman do? Many officers ask this question, what will this puny woman do? I'm not going to do anything. It's the Lord. It's the Lord. The Lord's love for the lost of the world is still there. We built a beautiful school. Beautiful school. Our land was allotted before the land was allotted to anyone else who applied with us. They were waiting for 13 years. We got the land allotted in 1 year. And it was paid for. The man was telling me, Madam, don't think it is 3 months. You got to pay within 3 months of allotment of land. Don't think 3 months. It is 90 days. Even if you are late by 1 day, the interest we charge will be too much for you, ma'am. So remember, you have to pay within 90 days. And God brought the right people. Just 3 of them. And we paid all the money by the 80th day. The Lord was doing everything. See, when He asks us to do anything, He doesn't leave us alone to struggle. We have to, with the eyes of faith, we have to see Him working. And that brings joy into your heart. And those who serve will also know that it is God who is working. Not this ma'am or not anyone else. but it is the Lord who is working. And the Lord continued to work. He brought so many children into that beautiful facility. And He helped us to make more schools. I don't know how we are doing that, how the money comes. I do not know, but always God provides. Always. I don't ask. But He has given so many friends to lift up these children from the pit where Joseph was. And now, many children, they have come up in life and they come back and tell me, you know, I got this job. I am so happy to hear that. And he will say, ma'am, one thing, I won't leave Jesus. Every day I read the Bible and pray to Jesus. What a joy it brings. They are becoming the pillars of the church. And India is a country where what is not God is worshipped. It breaks our heart. What is not God is worshipped. These days, more and more idols are added into the community. The idols will be bigger than this height of the roof. They are taken on the road. Young boys and girls, they dance before that. Who is there to teach them the path? Who is there to teach them the way to go? Who is there? India needs a lot of help. And education is a way we can put them on to the living God. Education is a way we can reach out to them. They can't. If the educational institution is established in the right way, they can't touch the institutions because the whole society will oppose them. So they can't do anything. And that is a way. Christian education. Along with the Lord. Our children, 60% are Muslim, but they come to know the Lord. And we want to be faithful to the Lord. Showing the love the Lord has for the lost of the world. And I entreat you to show in your life the love that the Lord has for the lost of the world. And give a helping hand to lift up these children one by one, out of the pit where Joseph was. And many of them will become Josephs. Thank you so much. Continue to pray for the work.